The 1979 Monticello Jefferson nickel, especially one with no mint mark and in bad condition, is a coin that represents both the continuity of American numismatic tradition and the historical context of the late 20th century. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as evidenced by the absence of a mint mark, a standard for Philadelphia-produced coins at the time, this nickel is composed of the traditional 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, which gives it durability, corrosion resistance, and a distinct silvery gray appearance. Despite its long circulation, even heavily worn examples may retain traces of metallic luster or subtle tonal variations, depending on their exposure to the environment over decades. The 1979 nickel belongs to the Jefferson Nickels series, which began in 1938 after Felix Schlag's design won a national competition. This design has endured with only minor modifications for decades, testifying to its artistic strength and cultural resonance. On the obverse of the coin, the familiar left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, the nation's third president and principal author of the Declaration of Independence, appears prominently. Schlag's depiction presents Jefferson with a composed and intellectual expression, his hair tied in the classical 18th century style, emphasizing both dignity and the gravity of his historical achievements. The year 1979 is stamped below Jefferson's portrait, marking the coin's production during a period of substantial political, economic, and social transformation in the United States, including the aftermath of the 1970s energy crisis, shifts in industrial production, and a society grappling with questions of civil rights and evolving national identity. In coins in bad condition, the details of Jefferson's facial features, hair curls, and clothing are often heavily worn, partially flattened, or obscured entirely. Yet even such heavily circulated nickels remain important artifacts, serving as tangible links to the era in which they were used. The wear patterns themselves tell a story of circulation, as each scratch, discoloration, and flattened relief reflects decades of handling in wallets, cash registers, vending machines, and countless personal transactions. The reverse of the 1979 Jefferson nickel features the architectural depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, which is symbolic of his intellectual achievements, personal vision, and enduring legacy. The design highlights the neoclassical dome, windows, entrance steps, and surrounding details, with inscriptions above and around the building reading E Pluribus Unum and United States of America, while the denomination 5 cents appears below. In coins that are in poor or bad condition, such as the one described, Monticello's intricate details may be smoothed or almost entirely worn away, with the lettering partially faded and high points flattened from decades of circulation. The coin may also show environmental wear, discoloration, patina, or surface corrosion, which are typical for coins that have been extensively used and exposed to varying conditions over 50-plus years. Despite these imperfections, even heavily worn examples carry historical, educational, and collector interest, serving as both physical artifacts and cultural symbols. The historical context of the 1979 Jefferson nickel is critical to understanding its significance. By this point, the Jefferson nickel series had been in circulation for over 40 years, serving as both a medium of commerce and a symbol of continuity in American coinage. The late 1970s were marked by economic instability, high inflation, and energy shortages, yet the nickel remained a constant everyday tool for trade, saving, and personal transactions. Coins like the 1979 nickel were widely circulated, and consequently, most surviving examples are found in worn or heavily circulated condition. This circulation not only affected the physical appearance of the coin, but also increased its historical and cultural resonance as it participated in the daily life of millions of Americans, passed from hand to hand, city to city, over decades. Numismatic significance of the 1979 Jefferson nickel extends beyond mere circulation. Collectors often examine coins for errors or die variations, such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, or anomalies in the alloy composition. Even in bad condition, some of these features may be detectable and can increase the coin's value significantly. While most 1979 nickels without mint marks are relatively common, and hold modest financial value. They remain an essential component of complete Jefferson nickel sets, and they provide opportunities for educational exploration, historical research, and hands-on study of minting techniques. Coins in bad condition can be especially interesting for those who appreciate the life history of a coin, as the wear, scratches, and discoloration reflect the real-world journey of the nickel over decades of human use. Cultural and educational value is another dimension of interest. Thomas Jefferson's profile and Monticello serve as symbols of American history, innovation, and ideals, but also as prompts for nuanced discussions about the complexities of Jefferson's life, including his intellectual brilliance and the realities of slavery at Monticello. Teachers, historians, and collectors use Jefferson nickels to explore topics such as presidential history, architectural history, the evolution of U.S. coinage, and the social context of circulation. Even a worn 1979 nickel can inspire discussions about history, economics, art, and national identity, demonstrating how even ordinary coins can carry profound educational potential. Physical characteristics and wear patterns offer yet another layer of significance. The nickel's 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy was designed to endure circulation, but over time, friction, handling, and environmental exposure inevitably lead to smoothing, flattening, discoloration, and other surface changes. Heavily circulated coins often show high points flattened, edges worn, and scratches from decades of use. Environmental factors, such as exposure to moisture, air, and varying temperatures, can also lead to toning or surface corrosion. These characteristics are not flaws in the numismatic sense, but are instead evidence of the coin's life in commerce, providing a tangible link to its historical context and the everyday experiences of the people who used it. Market and collector considerations for the 1979 Jefferson nickel in bad condition are straightforward. Because of its high mintage and widespread circulation, most coins of this year and type are readily available and hold modest monetary value, often only slightly above face value. However, the coin's value to collectors lies in its historical significance, educational utility, and completeness within a Jefferson nickel series collection. Coins with notable mint errors, proof examples, or uncirculated condition are far more valuable, but even worn examples are essential for thematic, chronological, or educational collections. For collectors, the 1979 nickel provides an accessible entry point into the hobby of coin collecting, offering insights into minting practices, wear patterns, and the historical context of late 20th century American currency. Broader significance includes its role as a representation of Jefferson's enduring legacy. Monticello, on the reverse, acts as a symbol not only of Jefferson's architectural and intellectual accomplishments, but also of the complexities of history, particularly regarding the enslaved individuals who lived and labored there. The nickel encourages reflection on the intersection of artistry, commerce, and history, showing how even everyday objects can carry narratives that span centuries. Coins in bad condition, in particular, illustrate the tangible reality of circulation. Each mark, scratch, or faded letter is a testament to human interaction and economic life, connecting the coin to generations of Americans who carried it, spent it, and relied upon it in daily transactions. In conclusion, the 1979 Monticello Jefferson nickel, no mint mark, in bad condition, is far more than a mere 5-cent piece. It is a historical artifact, cultural symbol, educational tool, and collectible. Its worn state does not diminish its significance, rather it enhances its narrative, revealing the coin's passage through decades of American life. From Jefferson's dignified profile to Monticello's symbolic architecture, from minting practices to circulation wear, every aspect of this nickel contributes to a story that spans history, economy, art, and culture. Even in poor condition, the coin remains a vital connection to the past, demonstrating that seemingly ordinary currency can serve as an extraordinary lens through which to view history, heritage, and the enduring legacy of one of America's most influential founding fathers. This coin exemplifies endurance, legacy, and the layered significance of everyday objects, making it a compelling study for collectors, educators, historians, and enthusiasts, and a testament to the profound narratives that even the smallest items can carry across generations. The 1976 Monticello Jefferson nickel, particularly one with a D mint mark from the Denver Mint and in bad condition, is a fascinating numismatic artifact that represents both the legacy of Thomas Jefferson and the evolution of U.S. coinage during the late 20th century. This coin is part of the Jefferson Nickel series, which has been in continuous production since 1938, following Felix Schlag's design that won a national competition for a new nickel. By 1976, the series had already established itself as one of the most recognized and enduring coin designs in American history, blending artistry, historical significance, and practical utility. The 1976 nickel is particularly notable because it was produced during America's bicentennial year, a period that celebrated 200 years of independence. Although the Jefferson nickel itself did not feature a special bicentennial design, that honor went primarily to the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins. The year 1976 carries immense historical context, and coins minted during this period are often associated with a heightened sense of patriotism, historical reflection, and collector interest. The D mint mark on this nickel indicates production at the Denver Mint, which was one of the primary coin production facilities in the United States, alongside Philadelphia and San Francisco. Coins from Denver are often specifically sought after by collectors for their mint-specific variations, and while the 1976 nickel was minted in large numbers, its Denver origin adds a layer of numismatic interest. In terms of composition, the 1976 Jefferson nickel follows the long-standing alloy formula of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving the coin durability and a characteristic silvery gray hue. This alloy allows the coin to withstand decades of circulation, though coins in bad condition, such as the one described, often show significant wear. This wear can include smoothing of Jefferson's facial features, flattening of the hair detail, and reduced clarity of Monticello on the reverse. Environmental factors such as moisture, temperature fluctuations, and handling in wallets, cash registers, and coin jars may also contribute to patina, discoloration, and surface corrosion. The coin's bad condition does not detract from its historical significance, as it reflects a life of circulation and interaction with countless individuals, each transaction embedding the coin deeper into the social and economic fabric of late 20th century America. On the obverse, Jefferson is depicted in his classic left-facing profile, designed by Felix Schlag. His expression conveys thoughtfulness, intellect, and dignity, befitting a founding father and third president of the United States. The year 1976 is inscribed below the portrait, while the D mint mark appears near the lower portion of Jefferson's bust, indicating Denver production. Coins in poor or heavily circulated condition may show significant smoothing in these areas, sometimes obscuring the mint mark itself, making identification a subtle task for collectors who examine them closely. Even with wear, however, Jefferson's likeness remains an enduring symbol of American history and ideals, serving as a constant reminder of the intellectual and political foundations of the United States. The reverse of the 1976 Jefferson nickel continues the iconic Monticello design, depicting Jefferson's Virginia estate with its neoclassical dome, windows, columns, and entrance steps. The inscriptions E pluribus unum above, United States of America, surrounding, and the denomination 5 cents below anchor the coin both culturally and monetarily. In coins that have been heavily circulated, high points such as the dome, windows, and lettering may be worn down or flattened. Despite this, even a badly circulated nickel remains a historical document, preserving the design choices and minting techniques of its era. The Monticello design symbolizes Jefferson's architectural genius and intellectual achievements, while also inviting reflection on the broader historical context, including the complex realities of slavery and labor that were part of the estate's operation during his lifetime. The historical context of the 1976 nickel is critical for understanding its cultural and numismatic significance. As a coin minted during the bicentennial year, it represents a period of national reflection, pride, and identity. The late 1970s in America were marked by economic challenges, including inflation and energy crises. Yet coins like the Jefferson nickel remained a constant part of daily life. They were exchanged in ordinary transactions, passed from hand to hand, and stored in coin jars or wallets, creating tangible connections between Americans and their national history. Collectors value 1976 nickels not only for their monetary worth, but for the stories they tell about mid to late 20th century American society, economy, and culture. Numismatic interest in the 1976 D mint mark Jefferson nickel includes examining minting variations, errors, and circulation patterns. While most 1976 nickels were produced without notable errors, collectors may look for double dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, or unusual toning. Even heavily worn coins can display these subtle anomalies, which increase their value to specialized collectors. Furthermore, Denver minted coins can sometimes show minor differences in strike quality, metal composition, or detail sharpness compared to Philadelphia or San Francisco coins. For collectors completing a Jefferson nickel set, obtaining a 1976 D nickel, even in bad condition, is essential for completeness. Physical characteristics and wear patterns are also fascinating from a numismatic perspective. Over decades of circulation, coins may develop toning, surface scratches, flattening of high relief points, edge smoothing, and minor dents or nicks. These features tell a story of the coin's journey, providing insight into the real-life handling of currency. The copper-nickel alloy ensures durability, but no coin is immune to decades of use. A worn 1976 D nickel reflects a life in commerce, passing through countless hands and acting as a witness to ordinary economic transactions across the United States. Market considerations for the 1976 D Jefferson nickel in poor condition are modest but meaningful. While its monetary value is generally only slightly above face value due to high mintage, the coin holds historical, educational, and collector significance. Coins with mint errors, uncirculated specimens, or proof versions command higher prices, but even circulated examples play an important role in educational collections, thematic collections of Jefferson coins, or sets organized by mint mark and year. The value lies not only in rarity, but in the story the coin carries. The bicentennial year, the mint origin, the circulation history, and the enduring symbolism of Jefferson and Monticello. Cultural and educational significance cannot be overstated. Thomas Jefferson's profile and Monticello encourage reflection on the achievements and contradictions of American history, including intellectual accomplishments and the institution of slavery. Educators, collectors, and historians often use coins like the 1976 Jefferson nickel to teach lessons about U.S. history, architecture, and monetary evolution. Even a coin in poor condition can spark discussions about the broader social, political, and economic context of its era, demonstrating how everyday objects like coins can serve as entry points into deeper historical understanding. In conclusion, the 1976 Monticello Jefferson nickel with D mint mark in bad condition is more than just a 5-cent coin. It is a historical artifact, cultural symbol, and collector's item, reflecting decades of circulation, the legacy of Thomas Jefferson, and the enduring design of Felix Schlag. Its wear and imperfections tell a story of commerce, everyday life, and national history, bridging the past and present in a tangible, accessible way. From Jefferson's dignified portrait to Monticello's symbolic architecture, from minting at the Denver facility to decades of circulation, every aspect of the coin contributes to its significance. Even in poor condition, this nickel is a testament to the persistence of history, the value of everyday objects, and the power of coins to carry narratives across generations. Collectors, educators, and enthusiasts alike can find deep value in studying, collecting, and reflecting on the 1976 D Jefferson nickel, making it a truly remarkable object that transcends its modest 5-cent denomination. The 1964 Monticello Jefferson nickel, particularly one with no mint mark and in bad condition, is a coin that offers a deep window into mid-20th century American history, numismatic art, and everyday life, while reflecting the enduring legacy of Thomas Jefferson and the design of Felix Schlag. Minted during a pivotal period in U.S. history, 1964 coins emerged against the backdrop of significant social, political, and economic developments, including the civil rights movement, the escalation of the Cold War, and the final years of post-World War II economic expansion. The absence of a mint mark on this nickel identifies it as a product of the Philadelphia Mint, which at the time did not apply mint marks to coins, unlike its counterparts in Denver, which bore a D, and San Francisco, which bore an S. The nickel itself is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it durability and resistance to corrosion, while maintaining a silvery gray finish that, despite decades of circulation, often retains hints of its original metallic luster, even in worn examples. The coin's composition was part of a long-standing tradition of U.S. 5-cent coinage, emphasizing practicality, durability, and consistency in appearance, and the alloy ensured that the coin could withstand the heavy use and friction of everyday economic transactions, while maintaining its design integrity over time. On the obverse of the 1964 Jefferson nickel, collectors encounter the well-known portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, author of the Declaration of Independence, and a key architect of the nation's early political landscape. The left-facing profile, designed by Felix Schlag in 1938 and in use with minor adjustments since then, presents Jefferson with a calm and thoughtful demeanor, hair tied in classical 18th-century fashion, conveying both intellectual authority and dignity. The year 1964 is stamped below the portrait, indicating its production during a year of substantial cultural, political, and social change in America, including the passage of landmark civil rights legislation and the escalation of the Vietnam War. In coins in bad condition, such as the specimen in question, the fine details of Jefferson's facial features, hair, and clothing may be heavily worn, partially obscured, or flattened entirely due to circulation. Despite this wear, even heavily circulated nickels serve as tangible links to history, reflecting decades of use in commerce, personal transactions, and the everyday economic fabric of the United States. The reverse of the coin depicts Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, and a symbol of his architectural vision, personal legacy, and the cultural values of his era. The building's neoclassical design is represented with as much detail as the minting technology allowed, including its iconic dome, windows, columns, and entrance steps. The inscriptions E Pluribus Unum at the top, United States of America, framing the design, and the denomination 5 cents below Monticello emphasize the coin's dual purpose as both currency and cultural emblem. In a heavily circulated or bad condition coin, Monticello may appear worn down, with fine details partially obscured, lettering smoothed over, and overall relief flattened. Scratches, discoloration, environmental wear, and patina are common, resulting from decades of circulation in pockets, purses, cash registers, and vending machines. Each worn nickel tells a story of its passage through countless hands, serving as a daily tool for commerce while simultaneously carrying the weight of historical narrative and design heritage. The historical and cultural significance of the 1964 Jefferson nickel extends far beyond its metal content and denomination. Jefferson, as a founding father, represents both the intellectual foundations of the United States and the contradictions of its history, including his role as a slave owner. Monticello stands as a tangible manifestation of Jefferson's intellect, architectural skill, and personal tastes, yet it is inseparable from the historical realities of slavery and labor at the estate. As such, even a worn nickel becomes a conversation starter, encouraging reflection on the complexities of American history, the achievements and failings of its leaders, and the ways in which symbols like coins communicate cultural values across generations. Collectors, historians, and educators often use coins like the 1964 Jefferson nickel to engage students, the public, and numismatic enthusiasts in discussions about history, economics, art, and the intersections of daily life with national identity. Circulation and condition play a critical role in understanding this coin. The 1964 nickel was produced in vast quantities to meet the demands of a growing economy, and as a result, the majority of surviving specimens are found in worn or bad condition. Heavily circulated nickels often display flattened high points, including Jefferson's cheekbones, hair curls, and Monticello's architectural features. Edges may be worn smooth, and scratches or minor dents from handling are common. Environmental factors, such as exposure to moisture or acidic materials, may cause discoloration, greenish or brown toning, or surface corrosion. Even in such a state, the coin maintains significance. It is a primary source artifact that documents mid-20th century circulation patterns, the durability of U.S. coinage materials, and the lived experience of American currency. Each mark and scratch represents a transaction, a passage of time, and a connection between countless anonymous individuals who handled the coin over decades. Numismatic interest in the 1964 Jefferson nickel encompasses several areas, even for coins in poor condition. While the vast majority of 1964 nickels without mint marks are relatively common and hold modest monetary value, collectors often examine them for mint errors, die variations, and other anomalies that can enhance value and interest. These include, but are not limited to, doubled dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, or variations in the thickness or composition of the alloy. Even in a heavily worn state, careful observation under magnification can sometimes reveal such errors, turning an otherwise ordinary nickel into a collectible piece of significance. For collectors building complete Jefferson nickel sets, every specimen counts, and the 1964 issue is a key element of completing the chronological collection, regardless of condition. Educational and cultural value further enhances the coin's importance. Teachers and historians use Jefferson nickels to illustrate themes in American history, including the design of early U.S. coinage, the representation of national ideals in everyday objects, and the intersection of art, politics, and economy. Monticello, on the reverse, provides an entry point into discussions of architecture, slavery, the intellectual life of Jefferson, and the interpretation of historical artifacts in modern contexts. The 1964 nickel thus functions as both currency and a tool for engagement with broader historical narratives, offering a tangible bridge between past and present. Market considerations for a 1964 Jefferson nickel in poor condition are straightforward. Because of high mintage numbers, most circulated examples are accessible and affordable, often valued slightly above face value for historical or collector interest rather than rarity. Coins in higher grades, uncirculated or proof examples, and those with notable errors are substantially more valuable. But even worn coins have a role in education, numismatic research, and completion of sets. The 1964 nickel demonstrates how widespread circulation can diminish physical value, but not historical or cultural significance. Physical characteristics and minting details offer additional layers of interest. Coins were struck using high-speed presses at the Philadelphia Mint, and the alloy composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel allowed for durability and resistance to corrosion. Despite decades of circulation, these coins often retain some metallic luster, even if diminished. The wear patterns, toning, scratches, and environmental marks provide a biography of the coin, documenting its journey through wallets, cash drawers, and circulation networks. Numismatists often find such wear fascinating, as it tells a story that goes beyond minting statistics or production numbers, giving insight into real-world usage and the passage of time. In conclusion, the 1964 Monticello Jefferson nickel, no mint mark, in bad condition, is more than just a small piece of 5-cent currency. It is a tangible artifact of American history, reflecting decades of economic, cultural, and social activity. Its worn condition does not diminish its value as a historical and educational tool. Rather, it enhances its story, showcasing the lived experience of currency in circulation. From Jefferson's dignified profile to Monticello's architectural symbolism, from the minting process to the countless hands it passed through, every aspect of the coin contributes to a narrative that bridges the past and present. For collectors, historians, educators, and enthusiasts, this coin offers a remarkable opportunity to connect with history in a concrete, everyday object, reminding us that even the most ordinary items can carry extraordinary stories. The 1964 Jefferson nickel in bad condition is a testament to endurance, legacy, and the layered significance of American coinage, making it a deeply fascinating object, worthy of study, collection, and reflection for generations to come.